radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Today's Monday, February 11th, 2019. 42 days into the new year, just 323 days left. As always, we are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planets. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? I'm in a great mood. I'm in an unbelievably, fantastically awesome mood. That's right. You know, for a few reasons. One, I worked all last week. I worked all weekend on Coast to Coast. Here I am on Monday night. I didn't get off work till 3 o'clock in the morning. Got a little bit of sleep in, kicking off a Monday with our guest tonight, Jay-Z Knight. Unbelievable. Jay-Z Knight is here. And this is her first public interview in over a decade. And how does that happen, right? Unbelievable. First off, 10 years, that's a long time. But she is with us tonight on Fade to Black. And so what an honor for that to happen here on this show with yours truly. So Jay-Z Knight is here. Listen to the week that we have got in store. And next week is equally as amazing. Tomorrow night, Jay Widener is back. And we are going to do a full night of the mystery schools. That's tomorrow night. Wednesday night, bringing back Isaac Arthur. I had Isaac Arthur on last night on Coast to Coast. He did 4 straight hours. His debut on Coast to Coast last night, 4 straight hours. 4 straight hours of knowledge, of science, taking phone calls, tweets, the whole thing. Unbelievable show last night. And the amount of email and text and things that I got about that show last night, I was like, we got to bring Arthur back. So Isaac is going to be here on Wednesday night, and we are going to do a full evening of the Fermi Paradox. Isaac Arthur, unbelievable. So there is our week. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. And there you go. So, yes, I am in a great mood. Now, head over and follow us on all of our social media, Twitter, OnStellar, Facebook, YouTube. Everything is Jimmy Church or Fade to Black. Go over to the website right there, jimmychurchradio.com. Click, follow, like, and subscribe. The Sandbox, which is going to be on fire tonight. And I get it. It's going to be an amazing night. Hashtag F2B on Twitter is the sandbox. And watching Twitter this weekend over at Coast was pretty cool, too. But see, with this show, with Fade to Black, Twitter and what you guys have done with this show is just extraordinary. And I get to watch it all night long, all of the interaction, right? It's a couple of thousand tweets happen with this audience. And it's starting to get that way over at Coast. All of you are over there hanging out. And plus the Coast audience is involved too. And getting Twitter in real time involved is just so cool. And that's what you want to do. Use the hashtag F2B. And if you have any questions tonight for Jay-Z, any questions or comments, post them right there on hashtag F2BQ. Okay, it's really that simple. It's a big night tonight on the show. You can also email Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Now, all right, let me jump forward here. Let's get all of the necessities out of the way. I want you to come and join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. It's right here in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. And it's not this weekend, but it's next weekend. I can't believe it. February 22nd through the 25th. And this year we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken. And I will be hosting that panel on Friday night with Eric and Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, and Rabbi Ariel Bar Zadok. You don't want to miss that. And that's Friday night. And you've got to get tickets for that. It's probably sold out. I don't know, but you want to go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com. The banners are over on our website. Click and get your tickets, and we will see you there. The panel starts at 7 p.m. on Friday. It's going to run for 3 hours instead of the normally scheduled 2. But because it's Friday night, it's the keynote thing and everything that is kicking off for the Conscious Life Expo. But it's Eric Von Daniken. It's his 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods, so it's a very special evening. So we extended it an hour. So we'll be going from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I don't know. There's probably nothing going on after us. Maybe we'll do some overtime on that panel. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, so come and hang out with us. And then right after that is Contact in the Desert, and that's coming up May 31st through June 3rd in Indian Wells, Palm Springs, California. Tickets and info are over at contactinthedesert.com. I will be hosting the awards dinner and banquet, and that is on Saturday night, and I want all of you Fadernauts to sell that thing out. Well, it's going to be sold out, but I want it all to be Fadernauts. I want to party with all of you. And that'll be going down Saturday night. Of course, I'm broadcasting on Friday night and then hosting the closing ceremonies and panel on Sunday night. It's going to be great. Contact in the Desert. Then right after that, our 2019 Soul Tech Conference, which is over the July 4th weekend at the Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado. You can sign up for tickets and info right now over at SoulTechGathering.com. There's a really cool event coming up next month. It's March 15th, in a month. Hypocrisy, their world tour. And they are coming through Los Angeles. And I will be going to get my heavy metal music on. I'm going to go see Hypocrisy. I can't believe it. Peter Takarin. And I'm just going to let you guys know. Inquire Within is my special guest. He's going to be flying down from Washington, and I am going to take him to go see Hypocrisy. Yeah, you know we're going to be periscoping. And that'll be Friday, March 15th. So there you go. All right, we've got a very busy summer coming up, and hanging out with all of you is the best part of it. And again, I am just in a great mood. Subscribe to our podcast. It's just $2 a month. Click on the podcast banner over at Jimmy Church Radio. So over the last few weeks, I haven't said this in a while, but over the last few weeks, we've been, shipping out, Fade to Black gear. And when you get your Fade to Black gear, post it, wear it, put it on, the hat, the shirt, the whole thing. Show us your Fade to Black gear, because we're going to be building I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures of all of you wearing your shirts and hats, and we're going to be building a special fader gallery with all of you in it. So post it, tweet it, email it, and get it into us. And we've got some special hats that were just made too as well, and some of those have just gone out. And when you get those special hats, right? And it's random too. When you get the special ones, you're going to go, what? I want to see pictures. Okay? All right. You'll know it when you get it. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Jennifer Aniston is 50 years old, and she will always make my birthday list because of the movie Office Space. That's right. That's it. No shame in my game. Linkin Park guitars, Mike Shinoda. He's amazing. Today he is 41. Alex Jones today says that he is 45. I am not buying that. Alex Jones says he's 45. 45? He's got to be. He looks, if he's 45, he looks 60. Those supplements that he's taking are the wrong ones, man. He needs to get into some Life Change tea because he's 45. I'm 55. I'm 55. If I'm standing next to Alex Jones, are you going to take that bet? Who is younger? Think about that for a second. Also, today, Sheryl Crow is 57. Our dead guy's birthday today is the one and only Burt Reynolds, 1936 to 2018, died at the age of 82 last year. And when you think about this, Deliverance, The Longest Yard, Smokey and the Bandit, and we can't forget WW and the Dixie Dance Kings. I love that movie. Semi-Tough, The Cannonball Run, Stroker Ace, Sharky's Machine. How about Boogie Nights? And my all-time favorite, Meet Wally Sparks. Bert, I hope you're listening. Happy birthday. On this day in history, it went down 1990. Nelson Mandela is freed after 27 years as a political prisoner and starts the Mandela effect. That is your OTD on this day in history. Fader fact. This is a fader fact. The El Paso Zoo in Texas, right now, as I speak, has introduced a rather different Valentine's Day 2019 package. For a small fee, they will name a cockroach after your ex and feed it to a meerkat live on camera. And by the way, in case you're wondering, the meerkats prefer the Madagascar hissing cockroaches. And that's a fader fact. You can look it up right now. Google it. And if you've got an ex, hey, man, name that cockroach. Think about that. That is nuts. I wonder how much money they've made off of that. All right. Tonight, very special guest. It's an honor. Jay-Z Knight is here for her first interview in over a decade. Want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Jay Widener is back. Jay Widener is going to join us for a full evening of the Mystery Schools. That's tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Isaac Arthur. And we are going to do the Fermi Paradox. The Fermi Paradox, one of the most complex theories out there when it comes to aliens and ETs and visitation. It's complex, but there's only one guy to tackle it, and that's Isaac Arthur, and we are doing that Wednesday night. Thursdays, another fader night with open lines all night long. All right, so why am I in such a great mood? Because I am in a fantastic mood. Has a lot to do with this Fade to Black blend by River Moon Coffee, for sure. And I must take a sip. So, why am I in such a great mood? Last Thursday, C.W. Chanter went live with his stream on YouTube. And to be clear, to be absolutely transparent, I've had CW blocked on Twitter for a very long time. Whole group. Okay? Has nothing to do with, but I block negativity. And up until Thursday of last week, and like I said, I want to be totally transparent here. Up until Thursday, I've never listened to CW. I've never read any of his stuff. I had him blocked, right? So there you go. And the whole crew. The only person that I unblocked was Joe from the Carolinas, and I did that when I decided, I asked everybody for a truce. I said, okay, you know what, that's it, man. I'm just tapping out here. And it also had to do with the Jason Rice cease and desist letter. So more on that in just a bit. But I had everybody blocked. And honestly, I haven't read anything. I don't know much about CW, right? I don't know much about him as a person. I still don't. But all of the drama that has been going around with all the negativity, well, I just don't have time for it. It's just easier for me to block. I got a show to do every single night. I've got a personal life, and I just don't get bogged down with negativity. I just don't do it. I don't read it. I don't care. I just block. And everybody knows that, right? So with all of those players involved, I blocked them all, and I just moved on. But there were reasons for that. Because after Jason Rice posted his cease and desist letter, I started to see the writing on the wall. All right? Now, back then, I want you to listen to me. Back then and through to today, I was and am still in communication with just about everyone. All right? And over the since October of last year, right? I was getting stuff. I was told things. But I chose to stay silent, and I just let everyone talk so I could see who was real. And as things started to get dark and twisted over the last few months behind the scenes, the picture started to become clear. And what are the facts? What's the real truth? Well, I can only base that on what I know to be true. And when the Fade to Light blog came out, well, the name alone says it all, right? Okay. Someone was out there. Someone was trying to damage me, my reputation, my company, along with Rita. But why? It just didn't make any sense to me. The stuff that was written in that blog that was directly about us, well, I can tell you now, it was all made up. All of it. I knew this. Rita knew this, but we chose to stay silent. And we did that because the truth would eventually come out. So here's the crazy part. All right? Again, continue to listen to every word. And there are a lot of crazy parts, by the way, but why would anybody want to talk lawsuits, blacklisting, doxing people? Why? Why would somebody want to dox somebody? Why would somebody do all of this? This wasn't widespread. This wasn't across the board. No. Everything, all of it, pointed back to one group, to one person. This wasn't some huge swath of the community. It wasn't just multitudes of people. It was just a handful of people writing, posting, memeing, tweeting with fake accounts and real accounts, and they got caught. Cold, dead to rights, busted. Now, one courageous insider stepped forward, and now there are many. Today, spread out through the community, that data has been shared, and it's being shared. Now, clearly, I'm not an insider. No, I don't have stuff to share. I'm not an insider. I'm just one of dozens of people that have been exposed to the screenshots, the private messages, the text, the meme factory, the audio recordings. One thing is for sure, that group from the top down is freaking out. They don't know who to trust. There is not just one, but a few who have jumped ship. And there are a couple who have chosen to stay and continue to share what they know. And it's really ugly, by the way. It's hard to read. It's hard to read. It's difficult. It's difficult because you see the names and the faces and you know who they are. The recordings are even harder to listen to because on one hand, it's all about love and light, right? Love and light. And the real truth is it's all about anger, hatred, and causing pain to the community. That's what it's about. Messing with your emotions. Messing with your emotions with lies, fake articles, memes, posts, blogs, and tweets. Now listen, this isn't the cabal. This isn't the Dark Alliance. Nope. Everything that they have claimed is them. It was all them the entire time. It was the Blue Eagle Task Force. It's unbelievable. Oh, the cabal. It's the Dark Alliance. It's the cabal. We got to bring down this. We got to do that. We got to. It's widespread. And it wasn't. It wasn't. So, as of yesterday, the Fade to Like blog has been taken down. That's right. The fake Twitter accounts are all gone too. So yeah, it was an amazing weekend, and I've been in the best mood for months. And I want to be clear. This is the last time I am going to say anything on this subject. All right? I have a sense of relief. And the relief is, I know, you know, and they know. Everybody now knows. There's nothing, to me, there's nothing for this community, speakers, people, anybody, whatever that you're out there doing. You have nothing to fear because now you know. There's nothing that any of them from the Blue Eagle Task Force, any one of them, and they've all been named, right? There's nothing that they can say that matters. There's nothing out there now that everybody knows. It's just like blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't. I don't care. The sense of relief, because now we know. We were all scratching our heads. Thomas Crown, man. You know, is this real? Well, you know, we knew that it wasn't. The fear was, holy crap, maybe this is like something that's real. But we knew that it wasn't because it was all based on lie. Everything was lie. Everything was lie. Everything was one-sided coming from one direction. Why would somebody want to do that? Why would somebody try to flame out the community? And it was all for one person. You know where the alarm bells for me, where I would like freak out, is if this was across the board in the community, from people that I knew from over there and people that I personally know from over here, and people that I personally, people that were like, and saying these things, but it wasn't. It was all from just a handful of people being directed. And I am just relieved. I mean, wow. Peaceful sleeping. And the fact that this data, of which is mounting every single day, what started out last week, with just, 100 screenshots, damning screenshots and PMs and 30 minutes of audio. Today, it's hours of audio. It's literally hundreds and hundreds of PMs and text and screenshots, and it's all been widely distributed. Everybody's got it. How cool is that? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We can all just relax and move forward. The community is great. There is no war. There is no this. The Dark Alliance, the cabal is this. They're doing this and doing that. No, they were doing it to us, to you. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So it's a great day, right? And as I look forward, and I like to say this, that I walk around with flowers hanging out of my pockets. And I know that everything that I do on this show is honest, it's cool, it's fun. I bring on guests that I want to have a conversation with, and we do things to move forward. But in that, I am just like you, in that I can be snowed as well. I can. And when the Jason Rice letter was posted, and I saw that, that's when I had to take a step back and go, wait a minute here. Things aren't what they seem. This is strange. So, I, like you, I woke up. All right? Now, don't think that my silence is because I've been stupid. My silence is because this is now a huge legal matter. I warned everybody about this months ago that we were going to arrive to this day. Now you know what I was talking about. So now as this pans out and this plays forward and things take their legal courses, I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to sit back and watch it play out. It's indeed a great day. And those flowers that hang out of my pockets, they're there. They're there. Now you know I'm in a great mood. Okay, so this week, tonight, Jay-Z Night is here. Tomorrow night, Jay Widener is back. And Jay, going back, so many years on this show, if you go back, one of my favorite shows, and I've said it over and over again, is the Jay Widener Falconelli special. It was one of the best conversations I've ever had. And he's one of the best and the brightest. And when it comes to the mystery schools and everything about that, go back and listen to the Falconelli special. Tomorrow night, we're going to do mystery schools all night long. I cannot wait for that. And then one of the long-awaited shows that I've been promising you now for about a year, we are going to do the Fermi Paradox. It's complex. It's deep. There is a lot to it. Isaac Arthur will be here on Wednesday night, and we are going to break down the Fermi Paradox from top to bottom. And then Thursday night, you guessed it, it's open lines all night long. Fader night, it's going to be great. It's going to be a celebration. So let's do that on Thursday. And then you know what? I just worked for 2 or 3 straight weeks. I'm going to have a weekend off before we head over to the Conscious Life Expo. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, and I'll be right back after this short break with tonight's guest, Jay-Z Knight. Now, email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com, and you can also follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. You can follow Jay-Z, simple, at Jay-Z Knight, and we've got all of that up in Twitter right now. Stay with me. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with me.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark. deep with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's simple. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions for myself or Jay-Z. Post it up right there. You can also follow Jay-Z Knight at Jay-Z Knight on Twitter. Jay-Z Knight. Here we go. She is the unique channel of Ramtha, the author of the best-selling autobiography, A State of Mind, My Story. Jay-Z and Ramtha have captivated and inspired audiences worldwide for over 4 decades, bridging ancient wisdom and the power of consciousness together with the latest discoveries in science. Now, she is also the president of JZK Inc., and Ramtha's School of Enlightenment, a unique academy located up in the foothills of Mount Rainier in Washington State. The school has hosted over 30,000 students from the United States and 70 foreign countries. Tonight is Jay-Z Knight's first public interview in over 10 years, and I'm honored to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Jay-Z Knight. Jay-Z, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Jimmy, my friend. It's great to be with you, and it's great to be with all of the folks out there. Can I do a shout-out right quick?
Shout.
Okay. I want to give a shout-out to all of my angel folkies on Facebook and all of my friends on Twitter. Thank you for being here and enjoying this program tonight with us. You guys are awesome. They're from around the world, so all different time zones. Thank you.
That's fantastic. And they get to hear me give you the first-time guest disclaimer. And that's really cool. So here it is. Jay-Z, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. There you go. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Now, the next time you're on the show, you don't get the first-time guest disclaimer. But that's it's always an honor to be able to do that with a first-time guest. And this is okay. Before I ask the obvious question, which is where have you been for the last 10 years, I want to say this because that question is coming. But last year, I had the privilege to meet you at Contact in the Desert. And,
yes.
And it was just awesome. You took me by surprise, as, for everybody else. It's like, wow, Jay-Z, right? But I have to ask, this is your first public interview in 10 years, but yet you were at Contact in the Desert. Do you like to go out and hang out at events like that?
It's a great question. Actually, I wanted to go to the MUFON UFO convention, and I missed that. I could never attend any of these. And frankly, I was never asked to speak at any of them, even though I have a very impressive chapter in my book, A State of Mind, when myself and 5 other girls were abducted one night in Artesia, New Mexico. And it's an amazing chapter in the book, but I was never asked to speak about it and to anyone. And wherever I go, we have UFOs. Mike could have sent you a bunch of pictures, from Mexico to Italy to the UK. Wherever we've been, they've always been hanging around. Anyway, so long story short, I had dedicated essentially my life and my work with Ramtha and the school for all these years, and I never got to go attend one of these conventions. And so when I kind of semi-retired, I went, all right, this is super cool. I am going to go and take one of my grandchildren, my grandson, Austin. And so he and I went to this convention in the desert, and we had VIP passes, but no one had remembered me because I haven't been out and about, since the 80s, 90s. And so then people started recognizing me and went, oh, my heck, what are you doing here? And Richard Dolan said, I was the most famous person here. Now I bow to you. I said, no, don't tell anybody. I just want to come and see what's happening and how do these things work. Because I had met our communion author, which I think his name escapes me right now.
Whitley Strieber.
Whitley Strieber. Oh, my heck. And I have met Fire in the Desert. I have had, I've had all of the important illuminaries from this UFO community up here. I even had Corso come and spend a few days here. So I had all these people that gave great lectures up here to the school, and I get to spend a lot of time with them privately because this is a phenomenon that has just always sort of been around me and with me since that case when I was in the 9th grade, the summer of my sophomore year, actually. And so this was my first time, and people were shocked, and I was with, wow, this is really commercial. And and then I went around and I got Giorgio, I found Giorgio, I love Giorgio. And so I went around and got to see all of the people that were there that I had met and had hosted in the past. It was really a lovely, eye-opening experience. I did have sort of, I kind of had this sense that there are a lot of people talking about an amazing subject that they've never experienced. and that they've never been abducted, or they've never had an actual sighting, or they've never actually touched one of these things, or, met, a modern day alien. But the enthusiasm was there, and the audience was huge, as you know, that came, and it was so impressive. And my grandson, who's just totally in on this with me because he's seen some of this, and I just had a blast. I had a bummed out knee, so I was able to be there for 1.5 days. And then I said, I really got to go back. And they said, well, what do you think about coming and talking? Well, nobody's called me to say, hey, we would like for you to come and talk at the desert. But I just said, I would like to go and attend a MUFON conference because they have some very intelligent individuals from the military, the government, worked on secret projects, et cetera, that mathematicians, those sorts of things, that I'd like to go and I would like to attend. So the answer to your question is I finally got a chance to go out and do it. I mean, there's a lot of things I haven't been able to do for 41 years, and so I'm just sort of been going out there and doing it and just being one of those folkies that's out there in the audience going, oh my heck, can you believe this?
Yeah, and that's you touched upon something that I find that is really wonderful, because an event like, and there's a few that are big, like Contact in the Desert, but Conscious Life Expo and stuff. But when you go to one of those events and you see 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, they're there because they have a personal connection. They
Absolutely.
have they have emotions involved, and they may not have made contact like you've said, but they've got questions and they want it answered, and the openness and the fun that goes down there is it's intoxicating. It is so much fun.
Absolutely, I agree with you. No, what I was talking about the lecturers. Now, I wanted my grandson to meet Whitley. I wanted him to meet Giorgio. I wanted him to meet, our Fire in the Sky guy. And
Travis Walton.
Travis. You can tell I'm old. So Travis. And so I wanted him to meet all these people that I knew had experiences. Not, I think I can, but I'm sure I can explain this. Sort of, but the real thing, the people that had really been touched by this and it changed their lives forever. They were the genuine article, and he got to do that and was very excited. Everything else was very exciting, and I think probably, as in all settings like that, when we're talking about a conscious convention, we're talking about a spiritualist convention, we're talking about a Bigfoot convention, we're talking about, a JFK conspiracy convention. What is lovely about that is it becomes the navel of where people gravitate to express what is in their reality and exchange it with other people. And so, in other words, they don't feel so alone. And then they can let their hair down and they can talk and share their experience. And no one thinks they're nuts, which, golly, we need more of that.
And I think one of the reasons, and I would love your comment on this, one of the reasons why you may not have been invited, I think everybody would love to have you come and speak, but that you've pulled back so much, you've got so much going on with the school and what you're doing, that maybe you appear to be, unapproachable, or that...
No, I think what it is that I've been asked so many times to go to India, to go to London, or to some of the universities there, Queen's College, a couple of other places, to talk about my experience, what has happened to me, so that in a way they get a conscious expansion. They're already expanded, but then there are these other elements to really open-minded people want to investigate that and add that in as a probability factor. So I had all of these amazing opportunities to go, but I was working, and I was world tours, you name it, everything. So when I finally just said my batteries are low, I think it was at 70 that I said that, and said I have to pull back and take a rest. I really and truly needed it. And up to that point, it had just been the school. So I had an invention that I had been given the knowledge on the other side, if you will. And I brought it and I built it, and I have a world patent on it now, and it's called the Blue Room. And I created this because my greatest desire was to be able to heal folks of their ailments, to be in disguise and sneak into a hospital and go heal all these people, little old folkies and cancer patients and children and veterans that I see that have PTSD. Well, my machine is sort of God-given, and I call it the God machine, and it's sort of doing that work for me. So I had this lovely time to be able to invent that and along with a lot of other things that are coming out, that I had to put my mind into reality. That's what we've learned to do, that if knowledge is given, then you must express it, and if you express it through its manifestation of it. So I made that manifest, and it's opened doors everywhere for me. And so I don't know how many people would even remember me, who the hell is that?
I know, I have to jump in. You just said when you hit 70, and I had to stop and think, wait a minute. I just met you last. You don't look, act, or feel. 70 just doesn't even sound right coming out of your mouth right now. But you're 72.
No, I'm actually 73 next month.
73 next month, and I wanted the audience to know, they may not know this, but you were born in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yes, 1946.
A year before the event.
The UFO crash.
Right. And did you know...
They dropped me off and then they crashed. What can I say, Jimmy?
That was my question. There's got to be a connection there. But Jay-Z, did you know that it was announced yesterday that the ranch, the Brazel Ranch, was just sold?
No kidding.
Yeah, it was just sold. It was sold to a cattle company. And nobody knows what's going to go on now. But and that was announced yesterday by the Roswell Daily Record, the same newspaper that announced the crash.
They didn't preserve the 2-mile debris field in the site.
They don't know what they're going to do with it. It's a cattle company. They don't know anything about UFOs, I don't know.
Well, we can have some radiating cattle out there.
I know. I'm ready to stand up and shout and protest on this. We should always have access to that. It should be a historical site.
When you tell me something like that, I go, right, okay, let's check into this cattle company. Let's see who they really are. Let's do, I'm an investigator, so I like to investigate things. All right, what is their real purpose? And then maybe it's just that they're a cattle company and they need that vast grazing land out there. But, that is such a, that is like nirvana. That's sort of like a holy site for everything that changed the world happened at that crash site.
Yeah, no doubt. It should be preserved. Well,
it should be.
Let me ask you this. 10 years ago, it's been over a decade since you've done a public interview like this. Was there a reason 10 years ago where you decided to back up and focus on other things?
I think for one thing, I was getting. The process I go through channeling, you've gotten the DNA testing that we did, the 4 different blind tests to these labs. I think it was getting tired, and I was getting short on my grace to accept people who automatically just say, well, you're a cult leader, or you're a fraud, or somebody else is, or that's not true. And then when you ask them to explain that, they don't know. They've just sort of been programmed that And it's sort of an embarrassment. They don't know why they say it, but they do. They're embarrassed to not have a reason or a scientific explanation for it. And I think I got sad, I think, for the world and for us as human beings, and understanding, when, the Ram talks about, they got the machines on, and that, download to people limited realities and just sort of brainwash them. I think I just got sad. And that was partly due to just really sort of being rather exhausted.
And some of the technologies that you have talked about, through Ramtha, it seems to have.
Well, if Ramtha, I just want to get something clear.
Sure.
I haven't talked about it if it's through Ramtha. Ramtha talked about it. It wasn't me. I mean, you got the DNA reports, okay? So that was another being using my body, which actually turned out to be true. So what are we talking about that Ramtha said?
That's what I'm saying. The technology revolutions that we are currently going through that started back in 95, and where we are today, these are things that have been revealed for a while.
Can
Sure.
I say something to you? I'm losing you.
Oh, you are losing me? Okay.
So can you jiggle that cord again?
Yes, I can jiggle that cord again.
It's an interesting timing for this loss.
Yeah. I kind of suspected that this we had technical issues.
I can't really hear you.
Okay.
But I think it has everything to do with what you're about to ask me.
Yes, and see, the audience can hear me, so if you can't, the question is, the technical side of things was something that Ramtha was telling us about 20 years ago, and we're going through it today. And the stress on this world is divide and conquer now through technology.
I can barely hear you. Can the audience hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to have to go with knowingness, what you're asking me. Ramtha has, since I have known him, has talked about these wave patterns that are sent out like a weather front, and that have been in effect for a long time. And it's sort of like, use the example of in, historical times, they used to put a herb called raufala into the city well. And what it was sort of like Prozac. And people would drink that, and they would just, they'd just chill out. So whatever the rulers or the kings or the nobilities or the feasting lords did, it was really cool of them. They could work them, into the ground, and they'd still be grateful for, that hard loaf of bread that they had at the end of the day, and that hard cheese. So this technology of the suppression of the human mind has been alive and well, and has gone through many alterations in upgrading a download. Like a lot of people here, I know a lot of your listeners are going to say, yeah, they understand this. If you've heard ringing in your ears, that's a download that's actually happening. Your phone. Hello?
Yes.
Your phone will give off a certain sound, and it's a download. In other words, signals are being sent to your brain. Hello?
Yes, I'm just checking things.
Okay, now I can hear my echo.
Okay, well, we're good, though. Keep going.
Okay. Your people say, well, they're ringing in my ears. I don't hear anything. Yes, but you hear a tone. And a tone carries information in it, just like radio does. Oh, my lights are blinking. Radio does through the sky, your television, your computer. So information is carried in frequency. So when you get downloaded, you're going to hear a tone. And that tone is carrying specific information that's downloaded to your brain. Your brain is, there's different parts of us. There's our brain, and then then there's us, the incarnated individual. Our brain is like a computer, and it is downloaded information. In fact, our karma, or what we've come back to do, is downloaded. Our predisposition for certain realities and how we are, attitudes, etc., is downloaded, and that's how we work through those to continue to make known the unknown, to sort of conquer by experiencing, and then through experience we gain wisdom, so then we don't have to live that page in our history again. So, in other words, we set at sort of the back of our brain. We are a ball of light that turns this computer on, and we're operating through it. Well, we talk to God. God is indivisible. It's inseparable. There is no contest with God. I don't love God more than you love God. That we are this is inseparable. We are a ball of light that is our true spiritual beingness in a beautiful body, which is a gift that allows us to incarnate and begin to evolve life, to make known unknowns through evolution. So the way that those who rule the world want to suppress us and use us as chattel, the poor people out in the fields that are working, is that they have to keep us addicted to an attitude. What they say is, in other words, their greatest fear, the reason for all of this is that we have the capacity to think for ourselves, to realize for ourselves, to understand for ourselves, to have independent thought, rational thought that isn't a soundbite, that isn't a way to be. I gotta be this. I gotta believe this way because that's where all the hip people are. And if you don't, well, you're this and this, and people throw rocks at you and hate you and all kinds of stuff. That is what a programmed person looks like and sounds like. When we wake up to our own ability to create reality, when we wake up and know the truth of what has been done to us, when we're ready to hear it, it's not a political thing. It's about suppression versus truth. And it's about a realization. When we wake up, oh, my heck, all right, well, what do you think about that? Well, did you do your research? All right, what is your contemplation on that? When we become that singular individual is when we've actually become enlightened. And their greatest fear is that we will. And that's what's going on right now in the world today. This transition is happening in America. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in South America. I mean, it's happening everywhere. The world, or the second coming of Christ, or Christness, is a waking up. And it's happening, and I wouldn't miss this for anything, would you?
No, knowledge is power, and
knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, and we have access to everything now. We need to take a break. We need to take a break right here, Jay-Z. Started off the right way. I expected this, and so let's continue the conversation right after the break. Jay-Z Night is here. First interview in over a decade. Let's continue this. We'll be right back after this short break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Jay-Z at Jay-Z Night on Twitter. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Come join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. This year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken, and I'll be hosting the panel with Eric, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell,
Billy Carson and join George Norrie, Nassim Haramein, Robert Schock, Damian Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, and another 50 speakers who will be presenting at the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. Just go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com for tickets and a full conference schedule, or click on the CLE banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers, and you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest, Jay-Z Knight. Tomorrow night, Jay Widener is here. Wednesday night, Isaac Arthur. Thursday night, open lines all night long. But tonight, it is Jay-Z Knight. And Jay-Z, you got me, right?
I got you, darling.
Okay. Now you're low in volume. Okay. I'll fix it here. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Wow. It suddenly dropped in volume. Okay.
I know. Lights are blinking, carrying on in the house here. So it's cool. I live with this a lot. Can I do another shout-out?
Sure. Shout.
Oh, you're such a lovely man. I want to make a shout-out to the autists and the anons, to In the Matrix, and to Shady Groove, and to iPod in Pursuit Sir Patrick Mack. I want to give a shout-out to the Q Army. They're awesome, beyond awesome. I mean, I know truth. They're truth.
Okay, now, woof. Okay, yeah, you're in a snowstorm, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually, well, we had a snowstorm.
Yeah.
But just kind of raining right now.
I want to go on the Wayback Machine for a second, because here today in 2019, you certainly had a lot of time to reflect. And when you got your first, because you mentioned the ringing of the ears, right?
Yes.
The first time that it happened, you've talked about it a lot, and I get that part of it. But like I said, now you've had time to go back and think about it. The first time that it happened, the very first time, seriously, what went through your mind? Did you think that maybe you were crazy, or that this was impossible? And physically, what happened?
Oh no, I had a lot of experiences as a child. I wrote about those in my book. And growing up, I would hear this tone that would it would be a tone that would be loud, and it would get very soft. It would go in my ears, and my ears were checked. But I just thought everybody had it. So it never was anything that I thought I was going crazy or anything like that, because I could see things that other people didn't, and I thought everybody could see them. So it just sort of went along with the panoply of other strangeness in my life, if you will. But I don't think anything about it. My download is progressive. I'll just say that. And my download isn't to suppression or wickedness or evil or, things that people suspect that that's possible. It's really an upgrading of DNA. The frequency, our DNA vibrates. Each chromosome vibrates. Each cell vibrates at its own vibratory rate. And part of the information of in your DNA chain is that frequency. In other words, your DNA has a ghost frequency to it that is a vibratory frequency. And that's the reason why ultraviolet blue light, B in the spectrum, like boy, causes these your DNA to begin, certain parts of your DNA to begin to resonate. So when you are being, let's just say for we're just talking here. Let's just say that, okay, you don't think that's what it is, but then let me just present it this way. If you were going to be downloaded with information, it would have come in the form of, hello, it's me, blah, 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 blah. You need to do this, you need to do that, sort of hearing the voices sort of thing. It wouldn't be like that. It would be tones. It would be sounds. Because in that, then our DNA gets downloaded, our parts of our brain that we haven't used becomes activated, neurologically speaking. And so they were ready to begin to process other levels of consciousness. And that's a really great thing. And surprisingly, just about everybody that's gone to school here, in the thousands of them, have had the tones in their ears. So for me personally, I've never heard of someone saying they think they're going crazy because they hear that tone or they hear a little ringing, as they may call it. and then, some pharmacy says, well, we can cure the ringing in your ears, Well, no, don't cure it, please. You're being upgraded. You're not being downgraded. I think we're about as low as we can be. We're getting upgraded. More knowledge, bigger mind, greater reality.
You had these DNA tests done, of which, and I thank you sent me the paperwork on it. You had this done back in 2015. Why did you choose to have it done? It's always probably a little paranoid, right? A little nervous before it gets done. But why did you choose to have it done?
Actually, I was not nervous at all. After I went through that 2-year testing in '95 by all of those scholars and scientists, see, I already know that Ramtha exists. I already know. What I don't know is what happens to my body because I'm not in my body. I'm not even around. I don't even have a memory of it. I have a memory of other things. So after all of these years, just one day I just had this thought, I should have myself tested and then ask Ramtha if he'll allow the body to be tested while he's in it. So that's about it. There's no big conspiracy or anything behind it. It was just a curiosity. I wanted to see what he was doing to my body because he does different things to my body than what I do to my body. And so 2015, we had Dr.
Martinez
and his crew. They came, and January 2015, they did a cheek on the cells in the cheeks called squibble cells, I believe it is, and they do that cheek swab. So then 2 days later, I was channeling Ramtha, meaning that I left my body and he came. So, okay, now the team comes back in. He's with a small group of people at the time, and they do it. They film the whole thing. And so that sample was put in, and then the team sent it as R night and J night to 3 different labs, blind testing. They just thought they were going to get information in regards to these 2 family samples, as it were. And so they came back, and sure enough, Ramtha's a guy, and his.
I know. I'm looking at the results.
I know, Jimmy. Just hold on.
I know. Well, hold on, Jay-Z. I want the audience to understand. I'm looking at the test results here.
I know.
And it's
look at all 3 of them.
I've got them all. I keep scrolling through them, and I want the audience to understand what Jay-Z is saying. DNA test when she's just hanging out, she's herself. Another DNA test when Ramtha came in and took control, and then there is a control sample. There's a third, and the test. Especially page 2. I mean, page 3, which is the X and Y. That's
yes,
that's amazing. But page 2, the numbers.
But tell them what the X and Y is. That's the biggie.
Yes. Well, I'm looking here. R is Y, and J, which is JC, is X.
Yes.
And how is that possible? We have to. It's just. Wait a minute here, right? Okay, so, but in page 2, which is everything, and I'm not a DNA, I'm not a doctor.
No, but you can show them to your doctor. I don't care.
But the numbers are completely different in
yes.
both tests.
Yes. Number 2, the Interpath laboratory samples showed that my origin was French-English, which makes sense because I've had both French and English past lives, and so that makes sense to me. Ramtha was closest to Native American and Norwegian.
I'm looking. Yeah, continue. I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm stupefied. And
I know.
Well, when I got them in, I didn't know what quite to expect because I was expecting similarities, though. Some crossover, not two completely different DNA results.
No, this is completely different. Like, for example, I could have a broken leg. I had a busted knee, okay? And then they being an orthopedic surgeon, removed my meniscus. And if anybody out there has had knee issues and they have their meniscus removed, they know it's bone on bone. So I wanted to heal my knee. I've healed my body in this retirement of 3 diseases that I had, difficulties that I think come along with some aging or some wear and tear with Ramtha for all these years. Anyway, so the knee was the last one. I refuse to have a knee implant. I just won't do it because I know I can heal my knee. Well, I walk around on my knee all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fine with me. But for a while, it wasn't. And it looked like a cantaloupe. And I just would tell people, I said, look, I'm going to take care of this. This is for me. This is what I'm into. Okay? So when Ramtha would come down, the knee would go totally normal, and he had no problems with it. And I could give you 100 other examples of this. So this little curiosity of mine, I was never afraid. I knew that it was different. I just wanted it proven. And 3 labs, DNA labs, proved that. And they had nothing to go on other than this is DNA sample from J night and DNA sample from R night. And these are the results you come back. But those, like I was telling the students out there, these are great implications for us, especially in the school and for literally everybody. It really proves that our mind, our spirit, what we really are, can operate any body. That spirit can come in to any body it's given to, work that body. Somebody else could come in to be worked. It will work the brain and the program completely different. And DNA responds to the brain. It responds to the mind. Mind dictates what DNA does on a cellular level in the body. So what it proved is that what we are is not our body. And I love for all your folkies out there to hear that. We are not our bodies. This is our incarnation. This is the body to live in a 3-dimensional to 4-dimensional world. It is our body to be able to create things and then to smell it and to taste it and hear it and see it and feel it. But, when it's time for us to move on and our body dies, passes away, whatever you want to call it, we're caught up and we come back as that ball of light, those orbs that you see. Those are beings. This is what we really are. Sometimes when we talk about our God within, our conscience within, just says, you shouldn't do that, or, yeah, you should do that. It's really cool.
Right.
Though that is our spirit. That is that ball of light. What is urging us on is our program in our brain that's connected to our body. So what we do is that we slowly upgrade our DNA that we pass on to the next generation. In other words, every generation gets finer and finer and finer, the more awakened and aware that we really are. Now, this is not about religion. It's not about politics. It's not about anything. It's just that this sampling proved after 41 years of channeling Ramtha, a mystery that had so many tests done, so many scientists poked me, so many people came and did, and then, like the Anon said, then you got trumped. In other words, the church isn't going to, church isn't going to have a being coming here telling people that God is already within them, and they don't need an intermediary. That Christ is within them, that they are to become Christ-like. We don't need a church. We don't need the offering plate. We don't need any of that because it already is, because the kingdom of heaven is within us. Hello. quantum field manifestation, anything that you can create. So the government looked at this and said, oh, my God, these people are going to think for themselves. And the churches was, oh, my God. And so then, they got deprogrammers involved and unhappy people who heard of Once Upon a Time Lived by a Neighbor a few years back, or they got deprogrammed. Everybody got deprogrammed. That was the really cool thing. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like hate Trump. Well, you get deprogrammed. And so what happened is that in the media, because I was on the front cover of the New York Times 4 or 5 times, the front page of the New York Times. So it was a huge, huge thing. Well, the people who rule this world, who run everything, so they blackballed me in the media and would not support anybody that supported, listened, guest hosted me, anything like that. And so they tried to ruin us. So what they did is the same old thing that you hear, oh, it's a cult leader, or she does this or that. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. What is the truth is that we're really rather wonderful and that we're really rather divine beings learning to be divine beings. And so that's the reason why I love the autists and the Anons and the Q movement. And yes, even, I know this is not political, I wouldn't care if Trump belonged to the Penelope party. I would, it's Donald Trump. It's what he's doing. It's not what he has done. Anybody that has not sinned and not make a mistake, shouldn't be, don't say anything if you're that clean. He's a human being. He's like us. You can only lead people if people believe that you have the ability to do that. And they can only believe that if you're a human being that's supernaturally sort of getting it on out there. The whole idea of making everything known, dragging the secrets out, exposing, who has been doing this? What is the suppression? How big is this thing? And this whole movement is about truth. Sir Patrick Mack, I know that you know him. He made a great comment that I used today in a tweet. He said, truth is the new groove. Who knew that truth would be the grooviest thing going? And it is. And so being able to see what has been hidden from us, and for those that do hide it from us, are threatened by anyone that helps people to know their own mind, research on their own, and have the power to stand behind their own opinion and their own attitude. That would never do. That breaks it up. Well, so I'm in really great company these days, and this DNA test, that I was ever so glad that Mike sent this to you, really is not only that proves that Ramtha is a real being and I'm a real being, but this actually is implications that all of us are, and that this is our incarnation. We will never die. The body will get recycled. Our DNA lives on, and what we do with it and how we evolve it, those are choices that we're allowed to make in the name of God, because that's what we are.
Can I read these results and name the companies on the air?
I can tell you that, when this came out, the news media up in Washington State went cuckoo. But all of these labs shut down because it's a HIPAA. They would be going against HIPAA if you were to call them up and say, can I verify this? Well, they would never do that because you would go against, you can't release this information because it's a patient-client information sort of thing. But you can send it to anybody who asks for it. You can read it out. It's fine with me. I think it's so impressive, and it's impressive. It's great news. For someone says, just go, you can already hear it. Oh, I don't believe it. I think that's a fraud, Well, when your reality is that tiny and you don't know what else to say, how about be curious? And exchange the talking point with curiosity, because it's all about you too. So please do.
Well, and the reason why I think it's important is that, well, first the audience is wondering what the heck we're talking about, right? So,
right.
So DDC Forensics, their result was that Jay-Z and Ramtha had different all-L STRs and were different sexes. And Interpath Laboratory, they tested the haplotypes. The results were Jay-Z and Ramtha shared one haplotype, R1b, and their two haplotypes were of different origin. Jay-Z was French-English. Ramtha was closest to Native American Norwegian. And Pharmatech Laboratory tested DNA for sensitivities to various medication types. Their result, the samples from Jay-Z and Ramtha gave dramatically different pharmacological profiles, therefore are two different people. Now that's, you know, and so you have DNA experts out there that would listen to what I just said and would say, well, that is impossible. Well, that's exactly the point, isn't it? I mean, that's yes. But here's the great thing.
Well, I think the downside of this is that then people who are in prison that are waiting on DNA testing could have changed so much that their DNA has changed, so they couldn't have committed the crime. I think that's something, you know, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But on the other side, for a good housekeeping seal in every one of our cells is that this proves that we are transient beings, that we are divine beings, that we're a ball of light, and that when we turn that on, you know, we turn on our body gets the light, our DNA starts vibrating, and that's the reason why you change the environment around you and you get jazzed. You know, life is really splendid. Now, to have a body is a gift of God. To be able to labor in these fields of the three-dimensional world is a blessing. To invent, to make known the unknown, to find wonderful cures for things that have never been cured. And while I'm saying that, one of the things that, you know, Ramtha predicted Trump would win before Trump ever signed on to go. That we have that on record. Predicted December 8th that he would take off and he would look out his window and there would be two UFOs beside his plane. And he would look at them, instead of saying, oh my God, there's a UFO, he would look at it and say, I want that, meaning I want that technology. So turns out that, and this was December 8th, January, what is it that the inaugural was, the 28th, the 29th, 17th, something
17th,
like that.
I think.
Anyway,
yeah.
So then he gets ready to take off, and Fox News is filming it and catches two UFOs, exactly as Ramtha predicted a month earlier.
Let's take a break. Well, we have to take a break right here. We'll pick up. I want to continue this entire conversation when we come back.
Oh, I hope so. Please.
You know, we got to go right there. And your UFO contact and abduction experience is unbelievable. So let's do that. Plus, last year was the year of disclosure. I've got to know everything. So let's do that.
Right on.
Our guest tonight is Jay-Z Knight. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest is Jay-Z Knight. Tomorrow night, Jay Widener is here. Can't wait for that. Jay is always amazing. And then Wednesday night, Isaac Arthur. We're going to be discussing the Fermi Paradox. And I had Isaac on last night over at Coast to Coast, and the response, which I expected, was we've got to get Isaac back, and we made the move. So Isaac will be back with us on Wednesday night. But tonight, it's Jay-Z Night. And Jay-Z, now, UFOs, right? Here we go in 2018, at the end of 2017, where CNN and Fox and the New York Times and UFOs, front page news everywhere. And it seemed like something was about to break. Well, we got through 2018 with nothing. It kind of fizzled. What do you think was going on there?
Well, I think personally, I was one of the backers on Stephen Greer's film Disclosure, and I didn't think it went far enough. I didn't think it went deep enough. I a lot of people say disclosure is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's sort of like the end of the world is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't think it is a title that self-respecting aliens follow, self-respecting civilizations follow. They've always been here. When I say they, I'm talking about those who helped bring Genesis back to the earth. The earth's been destroyed several times, and they've brought it back. They've always been here. They've been in the earth, on the earth, above the earth. Their ability to oversee, protect humanity has been ever present. Now there are those I subscribe to that are don't take that so seriously. There are civilizations that don't take that so seriously, but by and large, to oversee and protect, there's sort of a guardian angel, if you will. Our government has known about them back since World War II. Then our government really got moving on it after the crashes in Roswell and elsewhere. They started to get the craft. Now, today we had two of those escort Trump's plane to Washington, D.C. It's on record. You can see it on Fox.
I've seen the pictures. Yes.
You've seen the pictures. Okay. It's an actual film clip. Escorting his plane to Washington, D.C. for the inaugural. And Ramtha predicted that December the 8th, the previous year. These, let's see, where do I want to go with this? When we have a sophistication of technology, which we're getting there, we do have a Space Force. We've had a Space Force for a long time. The fact that Trump calls it that means that's a big step forward in having that information come out. And because Trump is, and his military intelligence, their whole goal is to enlighten the people, and you enlighten the people by telling them everything. And I think that the part that we're going to come to as a people, as the world, is when Trump declassifies top secret information and comes out and has representatives come out and speak to it, so that not all the craft that we see in our skies are aliens. Are actually, a lot of them are our craft that we have developed and had developed since the late 50s. So we do have a Space Force. There are other civilizations. All you have to do is step outside and look at, the Milky Way and check out where we are. We're out in the boondocks of one of these swirls, and just look at everything around us. And, don't be so tiny-minded to think that we're the only ones that exist, because we certainly are not. So I feel, and this is my prediction, that more of that awareness is going to come in 2019, but certainly in 2020. And we're going to get information that we've never had before. And when that reveal comes from the leader of a large civilization such as the Americans, the Chinese, the Russians, South America, when that is all agreed upon and that's brought to a reveal, then you're going to have a reveal. What that will do, it used to be, well, then people are going to, they're going to question religion, they're going to go crazy, they're going to be frightened. That was back in, War of the Worlds with what's-his-face, on a radio show. We're not there any longer. We have evolved. We innately know we are not alone. And this presentation will advance us as a society light years from where we are right now. Along with that, the technology and patents that have been held, about 6,000 of them, maybe 7, maybe my numbers are wrong here, maybe it's about 7,000, a little over, of hidden technology from exotic. For example, why do we need fuel if we have anti-gravity and if we have the ability to manipulate gravity and move by bending space? Is there a way to electrify or to draw electricity off of the ionosphere of the Earth? Yes, and we're going to have all of that. Plus, in this reveal, this is the will of the people now wanting to know, and that information coming forward and being delivered. We're also going to have what was hidden in all of the cures for cancer, for all the diseases that have plagued us and made certain companies, corporations, and other individuals very, very wealthy, but also making us very, very sick. We're going to have cures for everything. All of this are legal patents that have been hidden and secreted away. They're going to be coming to the forefront. So disclosure isn't about a couple of people coming and saying, okay, they're here, and we're going to have, a UFO land somewhere that everybody can see. That's not the way it's going to happen. It's going to happen by preparing the stage, allowing people to understand little by little. We have this technology. We have the Space Force. This is what our ships look like. There are certain things we can't tell you that are super secret, but yes, we do. And we have a fleet of UFOs. In fact, every time Air Force One flies, it's escorted by 2 UFOs. It is. And you'll probably get another film of that probably in the next 3 months, and it'll be a clip, and it'll hit YouTube. And, a lot of people throw it out, say it's a fraud, it's Photoshop, whatever. But believe it, okay, because it's the truth. Then once the stage is set and this information is revealed, then we get to meet people who are beings who have been here forever, come from far distant stars, further than the dog star, that are here, travel in and out, and finally the galactic unknown will be allowed. We will be allowed to enter it because we have evolved mentally. We've evolved a mind. We have made our own technology. We have advanced as civilizations. We're no longer suppressed. We're no longer sick. We're no longer diseased. We're going to be allowed to enjoy ourselves on a galactic level, the likes of which no movie could have ever produced that's coming to us. And it will happen in my lifetime. And I'm going to be 73 next month, so it's going to be happening in your lifetime and all of your listeners' lifetime. These are things that are coming to pass. They're wonderful. They are marvelous. We can get hit with questions, well, what about overpopulation, and what if we get rid of diseases? Then what about overpopulation and too many people? All of that are questions and accusations that merit attention, and they merit an answer. Point is that once we have found a way to adjust our lives and to adjust them living longer, the necessity for diseased people, poor cultures is going to change. Life will change dramatically, and because it will, our ability to adapt our breeding and reproduction is going to change too. And it will change on its own in a biological state. So all of this is coming. It's all great news. It's not doom and gloom. Disclosure, we don't have the stage set yet, but it's about to be set. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Don't you think that we can handle disclosure? Of course, the idea behind disclosure in the past was that we couldn't handle it, that, everything would collapse in religion.
I know. But that was just a talking point. That's a way.
I totally agree.
That's a way for all of the companies like the Skunk Works and McDonnell Douglas and all of those guys, they were given all this technology that Corso, if you read his book, he'll tell you the truth. It's just flat out, that's where it is. So you can imagine how that leapfrogged us and made huge leaps in our evolution as from a dial phone to computers that we hold in our hands. I mean, it's pretty amazing. This is the future. So, disclosure, one of the key marks, there was a question and answer that Q opened up a platform. It was very strange. First time that the Q intelligence had done that, ask any question. So, second time he did that, it crashed the site because there was about 2 million people logged on in under 3 seconds. So, but the first time, finally a question came that said simply, Q, are there aliens? And Q answered that question and said, yes, there are. Now, I will tell you, this is what would have separated me from Q. Because had Q been politically correct and said, no, it's just a fantasy or something like that, stupid, that would have been the end of my participation in this Q army. But he said, yes, because I know there are. And people just on the chat room of which I was watching, suddenly Jesus' name came up several times, and have they been baptized, and have they been saved, and sort of these concepts about them, all of that will be understood in the context of God and the divine and the Word of Christ. All of this will be understood. Bigger reality, the bigger you can get your mind to open up, the more those answers come to you. And the happier you are for it. The smaller your mind is, the more fearful you become, and the less liberty you have, the less control you have, and the less ability you have to dream. So when he made that statement, I was on after that.
You said
so
he. I just
want you to know that I've had these experiences. So as a person that have had the experiences and shared with others these experiences, the only answer he could have given is the truth. And yes, they do exist.
Is Q a he?
No, Q is Q intelligence.
Oh, I know.
Q is not a person, but a group, an intelligence group.
Are you in direct contact with the Q group?
Well, I read all of the Q drops that are, and I comment on them just like every other Anon does. They did recommend, Q did recommend following a book list. Ramtha's book, Last Waltz of the Tyrants, is a recommended book to read, and that everybody should read.
Which
that
I
book
have. I'm holding it up to the camera right now. There it is. And
there you go. Okay, that's the book. This was recommended by Q. Now, this is information that Ramtha gave back in the 80s. You have to go back, late 70s, early 80s, talking about all of this. And I have to tell you that there are a couple of Anons that have worked out the most superior breakdown on the Pesurs and their link and overlord of the Rothschilds and the bankers in our society. And you're going to find that they are linked with the Vatican. Now, who put out this fantastic series? You should go to In the Matrix and Shady Groove. They're the one that put out this series. And every one of the people that are listening tonight should go and listen to this 3-part story. Will help you understand why we're in the situation we are, why bankers rule the world, why is even the land that you think you have a deed to isn't even owned by you. You will understand what is going to become uncovered, because this is very deep, but you will understand it. You will have the mind to understand it because the information is reasonable. So when you go back to Ramtha's book, Last Waltz of the Tyrants, he talks about the gray men, and he names these families and their history and how they own the world, and they do own the world. Now, one of the last predictions that Ramtha gave the same night was about the Federal Reserve. Now, on December 8th, Ramtha said that not only would he look out the window, December 8th, 2016, and see 2 UFOs and say, I want that, meaning the technology. And then he got briefed on them, but that he would take down the Federal Reserve, our Fed. Every country has a Federal Reserve Bank in it. So what he was saying is that if they don't change, he will file bankruptcy on them. And what I think began to happen after that is that Trump, once he got in office and everything, the economy was going splendid, and it got really, really, really great, and so the Fed stepped in and started to raise interest rates. And so then the stock market went down, but, the bond market went up. And anyway, so they kept doing it to him, and he just finally said, you got to cut it out. Well, he is going to restructure the Fed. And here's the other good news. Ramtha told us way back 1979 to begin to buy gold. And at that point, in 1979, I think it was $150 an ounce or something like that. He said, buy it and keep it and just hold on to it. You will see, I think, through the 2020 election, he'll win that one. I think you will see Donald Trump reorganize the Federal Reserve. Q said he would. And we will have a gold dollar, not a Federal Reserve note, but a gold dollar. In other words, the dollar is backed by gold. It's not just paper. It's not a note. It's not a loan. It's backed by gold. And what will happen is we'll have about a year to turn in our Federal Reserve notes for the gold dollar, and that will be happening in the next election. So these are 2 prophecies that occurred on the night of December the 8th, 2016, that will be coming to pass. And every one of your listeners should probably go and just do a search on Donald Trump and the Federal Reserve and start reading as much information as you possibly can on it, because you'll find out that that's where we're headed. And if that happens, and we are released from the Federal Reserve, then we won't have a debt anymore. We won't have a national debt any longer. Our whole income tax liability will change. The way that our government that got too big, too powerful, became, a dragon eating its young, is all going to be done away with. It's all going to be reorganized. This is what you call the truth. It's truth in the groove. It's being made revealed to all the people. The stage is set. Everything is going to happen, and it's through divine purpose that it's occurring.
What do we do with?
You happy.
I'm sorry. Did I just rudely interrupt?
No.
Okay.
I just said I hope this makes you happy.
Well, see, the hope was, certainly within my community and with myself personally, was that eventually we would have a president that understood our community, the conspiracy community, the UFO community, the awakening community, the New Age community. We got to get somebody in there. Finally, we get.
We have that person.
We have that. We have that. We've got Trump, but Alex Jones, right? It's just like now. With somebody that likes to tweet like he does, isn't the deep state, isn't the powers that have been running the Pentagon and the CIA and the NSA, aren't they a bit paranoid that he would tweet out UFOs are real? Oh no. When he said he's going to drain the swamp, that's what's been going on behind the scenes for quite a while, and I love his tweets. It's the first president that didn't do a fireside chat with us or
a State of the Union twice a year. This is somebody who talks to us every day in common language we all can understand, calls it like it is, says what we're thinking without any sort of political innuendo. It won't come out that way. It'll come out a different way.
Isn't
but
that
the stage will be
dangerous,
set,
though?
and it will be revealed to everybody. You can't argue with what you'll see in front of you.
But the money, the power, the puppet masters on this planet that have been around for millennia can't be happy with that.
Well, no, but they're going down right now because, you see, when you have information, let's just talk about Q intelligence. Q intelligence is the NSA and everything else. They know what everybody says. They listen to every phone call. You know the story.
Sure.
So you think that's bad, but what if they were listening it to all of these millennial people? What if they know everything about them? What if they know everything that they've done, every deal they've done, every murder they've done, every corruption, every war they've started, everything? What if they know it, and you got a team that says, all right, we're on this. We are going to we're going to change everything. 3 to 5 years in the process planning for this to occur. Yes. Now, go back and watch Pay Sewer. Pay Sewer. If you watch Pay Sewer, you'll start to understand how this is all possible. And last thing I want to put in, I really think that if Donald Trump should show his taxes, I think that every elected official in Congress should show theirs too. Don't you think so?
Well, I totally, of course. I know this is the thing, and we're going to head towards a break. But I know if I ran for office, that I'm forced to be exposed, and one of those things is taxes. Forget about the background checks and everything else. That goes with the party. But I would expect that, and I expect it of everybody. If you're going to be an elected official, I think that should be the top checkbox.
Okay, so Jimmy, why didn't we make that happen? Because they were all feeding at the trough. How does a person who goes to Congress whose salary is now going to be $200,000 a year plus health insurance plus everything that they could possibly want, okay? How do they go from that in 4 years to a millionaire? How did Barack Obama go from $500,000 a year net worth to worth $15-20 million? How did they do that? How did Nancy Pelosi do that? How did any of them do that?
Yep.
Because, you see, when they protect themselves, for example, you know this, for example, Planned Parenthood gets $500 million a year of our tax money. Okay, so the Democrats and Republicans made sure that stood. Now, why is that? Because that money then is turned around and donated to the Democrat Party or maybe to some Republicans. You know, there are rhinos.
It's both sides.
You know,
it's both sides.
On both sides.
Sure.
So they get a big chunk of it. So who gets then that money that goes to the Democratic Party? Well, it's created into a slush fund. And who gets the slush fund? Well, all the Democrats that made that possible. So they all get kickbacks. Every one of them gets kickbacks. The whole thing is pigs at the trough. So why wouldn't we want to have them expose everything? Because they would have to list how their wealth grew from $500,000 to $20 million in 4 years or 6 years. They would have to explain that to us, and that's the last thing they don't want to do. But I will tell you, it's coming.
Yeah, I feel that too. And it's not, look, this is serious. It's politics in general. It's politics in general.
It's a dirty business.
It's a dirty business. It's a dirty business, Jay-Z. I've got to take a break right here. Let's do it. Fantastic conversation. Unbelievable.
Woo!
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to continue when we come back. Hey, Ramtha, hey, Jay-Z, you know that everybody's asking if we're going to channel tonight. You know that.
No.
You know what's coming.
No.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal God on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com, dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jay-Z night. first public interview in over a decade, and we're doing it now, tonight, live, right here on Fade to Black. And Jay-Z, this is where I'm kind of at right now. And I started talking about this 5 years ago about fake news and deception in the media. But of course, I'm not the first, right? You can go back to 1984 or Huxley and Brave New World, but the planet went through it, and the planet got slapped around hard. And the divisiveness now that we are experiencing on this planet is there. It's not intrinsic anymore. You know, now it's something that you can reach out and touch. You can feel it. How do we get through this? What is the advice that you can give to everybody right now to calm down and try to figure out a path forward?
Well, first and foremost, I was really avid news watcher. I felt it was really important to stay up on current events. And so I was pretty much an NBC, and then when I traveled, I watched CNN. And I always knew that I was listening to talking heads. I was not really listening to investigative knowledge. I mean, I'm an intelligent woman, and I knew things that had happened they weren't talking about. So it was really when Trump began to run that I noticed that they wouldn't, they didn't show all of his campaigns, and they started talking really, really rather badly about him. And so what I did is I went to Fox News, and that was light years better. They still have their deniers on there, but there are a few shows that are really well done, and they do have credible research behind them. Now, you could go out on the street and ask anybody's opinion on anything, and they'll give you your opinion, and that will be today's news. And that's sort of like what it is on the fake news media. The news media is nothing more than, it's called fake news for a reason. It's the promotional arm of the Democratic Party, because it's the Democrats that are behind this one world order. It's the Democrats that are being supported and gotten wealthy off of the one world order. They don't really care about their constituents. They just want your vote. Then they turn around and enslave you. They don't work for you any longer. They listen to the people who tell them what to do. So once you sort of get that's how this works, no surprises, don't be shocked. Then the next thing you do is to start your own research. For God's sakes, do some research on your own. Be your own investigative reporter. Does it take that long to get on the internet? I mean, my God, you just have to go to the library and, go do the fish or, research old newspapers and things like that. You don't have to do that any longer. I hardly ever watch mainstream media anymore. I watch YouTube. The shows that I pointed out to you are credible, and there isn't anything on them that I've heard so far that I could go, oh my God, this is a stick in the mud. There are people on there for sure that are just, they're sensationalizing, if you will, the smallest of thing, and that's sort of a get your attention. Of course, that's going to be what it is, but there is real work being done. Now, for giving up, now is the time to feel great about living now. Now is the time to get involved. And you go out and preach to someone else. No. Preach to yourself. You do the footwork, you do the invested work. You know what, Jimmy? Just like you have done, and just like you endeavor to inspire your listeners to do. We have a brain. We have a fantastic mind. We have wonderful power. We have the ability to get on board. And now we actually have a power that can't be bought, can't be sold, that is tough enough to stand up, just like, I always, when I would travel to New York, or I would travel, I'd have to go up to Canada and then go over to Europe. But when I would go across the country, I'd always look out the window at all the farms and all the people that I was flying over and imagined what they were doing, in their homes at a certain time. These are called the forgotten people. Those are my people. Those are the people I love. Those are the people that I most connect with. When we understand that we, the people, have to know what's going on and actually be embarrassed that we use a talking point to cover up our lack of knowledge. I mean, when we really wake up that we're just mouthing what, the mainstream media gets their talking points at 4 a.m. And if you ever watch a channel, they all say the same thing. They're brainwashing you. Put it down, walk away from it, do your own research, and then just start finding sites that you can research on to where you respect your own opinion. Your own opinion should never be door slammed. It should always be door open, that you're learning more and more and more. This is the first opportunity in my long life that I can remember that civics finally became about the people and not about the politicians. And the nirvana, the new age, the age of enlightenment, the age of freedom, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter. That we're changing into an illumination is the most important part. And the more that we know, the more that each one of your listeners does an investigation on anything, and they keep reading, and they keep looking, and they keep teaching themselves, the happier they're going to be, the more confident they're going to be, and they have a say in how they think. How we think affects the quantum field. The quantum field is the tiniest bits of matter there is. But if you focus on it long enough, it becomes a reality. It becomes a tangible thing. When you grow into a new reality, you don't have to go back and read an old book to find something new. What we have to do is look to our future and be a participant in it. When we focus on that, we get to experience that. That's why we have free will, and that's why we have choice. We couldn't be creators to make known the unknown unless we did have free will to make a choice. So do it for yourself. Don't let the world, drag you down. You can find a million things to get depressed about. You can find a million things to have an attitude about. Have an attitude about the future. Have an attitude about your wonderful mind, and start learning about what's going on around you and become a participant in your future. You're living in the greatest age right now that will make that possible. I'm an advocate for anyone who does that. So don't be depressed about, they had the machines on us. Yeah, well, you know what? That was yesterday. They've kept cancer cures away from us. Yeah, but that was yesterday. Yeah, but my parents died of it. Guess what? Their body died, but they live on. And they'll come again, just like you're going to come again. What is ahead of us is fantastic. It goes deeper than we know, broader than we can see, and we're a part of it here and now. Don't waste it.
I have asked, because I went through some pretty dramatic changes, and I didn't do it from reading a book or taking advice or anything like that. I just made changes in my own life. And over, it takes time, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, but then you turn around and you look back at where you were 6 months ago, and you go, "Holy crap, I'm a different person." And
absolutely,
it's a bizarre thing to go through. And I've asked everybody, look, just if you're upset with the world around you or yourself,
change yourself first.
Change yourself. Change yourself.
Change yourself first. Every day. Do you know in the next 30 minutes, Jimmy, it's the future?
Mm-hmm.
So how are we going to live the next 30 minutes? Are we going to live the next 30 minutes growling and complaining and being the same old victim that we've been all of our life over some minuscule thing that ever happened? Or are we going to look at this and say, well, hell's bells, Mary,
Mm-hmm.
Let's start creating the next 30 minutes. Let's get jazz. Let's get involved. You can't change the world until you change yourself. It's just like you can't make somebody love you if you don't love you. You have to love you first. You have to fall in love with what you are. You have to respect what you are. And when you have it in you, you have it for everybody. It's not everybody's job to make you happy. It's your job.
That's
it's
right.
your choice to make you happy.
How do you find when it's so easy to say, but how do you find your bliss? How do you get to that thing? How do you find it?
Okay. Well, Ramtha School, this is not a shameful plug for Ramtha School. What the school is about is to really teach you these things on how to use your mind, how to create reality, how to become intuitive and how to manifest that intuition. That philosophy is not the truth. The truth only happens when you make it happen and you experience it. The experience is the pearl of wisdom. That's the truth. And we learn how to do that here. Well, one of the other things that we learn once we realize that, we're really doing this thing. Well, if we need wealth, when we focus on this is how we focus. Then we manifest money. That's what we're known for. That's the reason why we've been trumped. That's the reason why we've been blackballed. Everybody in the school knows how to do this. Ask any of them. They'll tell you. So how do I get my bliss? I get my bliss. I do a walk at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm not recommending that your viewers do that. I do a walk at 3 in the morning because that's when the level between this reality and where our spirit resides is the thinnest, the border between them. And I do it, everything's quiet, consciousness is good. And what I do is I create my day. I know that if that's all that I'm looking at is, these three things, this day I will have always been this. This day I will manifest that. And if I do that, and then when I wake up, I'll go back to bed, I wake up, my shoes hit the floor, could hardly wait to get up. And as I'm going to the bathroom, I'm saying the same thing, and it happens. We prove it out here. It's not just, it's not, gibberish. I mean, we actually do this thing. So our bliss is, what is it not to be happy, to be alive every day, and that every day provides us with a clean slate to make of it as we choose. So how do we choose? What do we choose? What are we going to do today? What do we want to have happen today? We don't want to live today like we lived yesterday because that's the past. Now we're not living. We're the walking dead. If we wake up every day, and that every day is a marvel, it's a gift, what are you going to create? It's your job to be a creator. I mean, then you get jazzed, Jimmy, and then you go, all right, so these are the three things I've been working on, and, two things happen. I'm still working on the third one. Third one comes up that when you want to create your day tomorrow morning, before you ever get out of bed, or when you're on your way to the toilet, or coming back from the toilet, you create it. You just say it. Not that you want to, or not that you pray that God will give this to you. No. There is no separation between you and God. It is. It just is. And you just say it. This will manifest this day. This will manifest. This I make happen. And when you have that kind of serene but powerful focus, and you're focusing into a quantum field without any delusion, without any whining, without any doubting, without anything, you just do that, baby, it always happens. So what is not to be happy about waking up? And what is not happy about creating something new every single day? I mean, hell, that is the most wonderful way to live. It's nobody's job to give me bliss. It's not my listeners. It's not my students. It's not Ramtha. It's not anybody. It's my choice. My choice. One of the lovely, lovely things that I've had in this lingering retirement that I've got going on. I never said so much in my life. I've read, at least 47 books. I have observed. I have contemplated. I have reflected. And the most wonderful thing is that so many things that I thought I had a problem with, I forgot they had ever existed. And I never had a problem after all. It was only when my mind was on them was it a problem, because that keeps manifesting itself every day. when my mind was off of it, it went away. So I just tell you and your listeners, Jimmy, it's up to you, baby. Make your bliss.
You know, that's exactly it. And once you start to recognize that and see it and get rid of the negative, I always refer to like Samsonite luggage, right? Baggage, just heavy stuff.
Suck gas.
Yes.
It's just yesterday's news.
It is, and it holds you back. And once you start to, snip at those and cut those away, and then you're suddenly walking free. You're not like walking in when you're in the deep end of the pool, right? And then you can't walk, but when you get out of the pool, you can. It's like that,
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You got it exactly right. Here's the thing that people don't realize. This is one of the things you learn in these classes here. What you learn is that people stay victims all of their life. They feel sorry for them. They get sick. They don't feel well. They run their bodies down, and they're absolutely miserable and unhappy to something that is long gone. It never was.
Right.
If you could go back to that situation, you wouldn't even recognize the situation. The idea that we can own our past in one morning is absolutely true. And when we realize it doesn't exist anymore except in our mind, then we self-correct that. We replace that victimization with the thought of bliss. I have always been well. I have always had wealth. I have always been filled with joy. I mean, I don't care what you say, your words, however you want to say it, but you override and trump the very thing that's caused you to get old, has caused you to get ill, and has limited you, has kept you from the kingdom of heaven inside of you. I mean, when you do that, that is the awakening. That is your personal awakening. And from here on out, it's job you do every day. You got to catch those negative thoughts. You got to catch that judgmental thought about somebody. You got to cut it and say, what the hell? I don't even know what I'm talking about. Why am I saying this thing? I have no information. Why am I making this judgment? Well, because somebody else did. You got to cut that and be your own person. Change your mind. Give yourself a great thought. Wake up tomorrow morning. Wake up and be filled with the challenge of the future. All right, so we've been talking into this 30 minutes into the future, and look what we're realizing in this short period of time. Look at the jazz we're starting to feel. Look at us almost arguing for our limitations, and then, oh my heck, we caught ourselves doing it. This is a cool thing, isn't it?
It is. And this is one of the things that I'm so impressed about you is that, and we're going to head towards a break. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to give you the heads up. It's the first conversation you've had publicly in 10 years, so we're not going to end it in 8 minutes. We're going to continue. We're going to do a little overtime. And and when we come back after the break, I want to talk about your contact and abduction story because it's fascinating and it needs to be told. But before we get there, is that you have overcome evil and pressures coming down on you and the Ramtha school like no other, and
no other,
and you need to work through that and experience it so you can turn around, and when you give advice or when you are talking about those things, it's based in reality and your own experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. You're right on. And it's called adversity. Adversity is a cruel bitch, but it is the best, hardest teacher that you're going to have. And if you try to avoid your adversity, you're really avoiding your future wisdom. So, it was one of the greatest teachers, and no matter how hard they tried to take me down, and everybody believes, people still have me sign their grocery bags or their shopping bags or whatever, and then there's people that just look at me and go, oh my God, that's Jay-Z Knight, she's a cult leader.
Right.
How in the hell would you know what I am? Sort of thing. They programmed them, just like they programmed people to hate Trump. They programmed people to think that about me. But listen, I have a warrior's heart, and I refused to give up on what I saw and what was the truth and what happened to people. I refuse. I don't care. The whole world turned against me because they told them to. I would still be here, and I'm still here, and I have learned everything about human nature that involves this. This is the reason why I know exactly what has been going on with Trump, what has been going on with this entire movement. I know exactly why they're doing it and for what reason. The thing is Trump is not going to let it happen. He's just not cut from that kind of fabric. He's a divine being in the sense that he's going to go through this adversity and he's going to change the world, everybody's world.
Before we get to the break, we've got 3.5 minutes. I have to ask you, were you reading the newspapers? Were you reading the stories and the investigations on you? Were you... It must have been hard if you did, but were you reading it? Were you staying on it?
I was. I tell you, I think it was the 5th time on the New York Times, and I was on every television show you can imagine. I think that's when the church, there was a meeting. So this is an investigative reporter shared this with me. There was a meeting with the American Church Council and some politicians, and then they got with the media people, and they're gonna get rid of me. They're just gonna put it down, and call it a cult, a dangerous cult, and start these rumors that, people have really small little minds and are, love to have somebody to hate and fear and hate. They're just sheep. They knew how to move them and turn them on. I read some terrible things that were spoken about me. I mean, things that, my children, one of my children left school. The other one continued on and graduated and then went on to college because they said I did the most awful things, that I really thought that adults were more intelligent than 8th graders or 6th graders, and I found out it was absolutely opposite. And the most dangerous people were the religious people. And I cried a lot, and I got depressed a lot, and I had to start suing people who said they were Ramtha, and they were saying these terrible things all over the world, and when all of that went on, and people trying to blackmail me. I mean, I went through the entire gamut, but I never backed down from a fight. And the news media switched when I told ABC News that I was going to sue them in a full court press for what they had said about me and what they were going to report. And they changed their report in New York. So after that, then they didn't want to touch me. They wouldn't say anything about me. They blackballed me. Larry kept having me on for a while, and a few other programs had me on. But then they stopped. And so everybody got against me. I mean, I am literally blackballed. But this is what you go through. I mean, it's called flak, Jimmy. In World War II, B-17 is my favorite plane. When they were flying over Germany and they were hitting flak, means they were over the target. So when you get that kind of flack, right, like I got, I was saying the things, I was too dangerous. Now, there were other people channeling, I don't know, dolphins, people that were saying they were Ramtha's brother, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They did drugs. They did horrible things. I mean, I've never done drugs in my life, ever. They did horrible things. They never, ever got called on. In fact, they were embellished. So I was over the target. The school, Ramtha, we were here on a mission, and we survived this mission. And after 41 years of brutal treatment, I survived it. I'm older and wiser, and I am very keen, historically and right now, on the nature of human beings and how we are so malleable to be programmed, and it's frightening.
Let's take a break right here. When we come back, I want the whole story. Okay, I want the whole story of Contact. It's an incredible adventure. We'll get it all in Jay-Z, fantastic conversation. Stay right there. We come back. Now we can just let's have a UFO conversation. What do you say?
Sounds cool.
Jay-Z night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. We'll be right back. More Jay-Z after this short break. Stay with us.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Jay-Z Knight is our guest tonight. First public interview, conversation in over a decade. And we did all of it tonight. Amazing conversation, Jay-Z. Now, if you don't mind, I am going to read one sentence, or no, about 4 sentences from State of Mind, and then I'm going to hand it over to you. But this is amazing. It's this. I'm going to start with Janet when she says, "God, that's weird," right? "We all jumped up and ran to the window. I got there first. I could not believe what I saw. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies." What is that? Janet asked. Okay, what are we talking about here? What happened?
Okay. Wow, that was such a powerful night, and you just brought it all the way back. I was in the 9th grade. It was the summer going into my sophomore year. So I was an underclass person on a majorette team. And so there were 5 of us girls, and we were at the head majorette's house in kind of a new subdevelopment in Artesia, New Mexico. And so in the subdevelopment, there would be a street and a house, and then you know, there'd be 2 lots you'd skip, and then there'd be another house, and then the street would wind down, and then there'd be a house a little bit further down. So it was like really open space. So we had worked on all of our programs and you know, our sets that we were going to do, et cetera, et cetera. And you know, we were just giggly, you know, really pretty young girls. And so at Denny Perriman's house, that was the real name of the lady. And Janet's name was actually Glenda. And so we were having a summer party, so we were going to stay all night long. And so we were in the back room, and we thought we would be really, really cool, and we would learn the sign language, like, you know, I mean, how dumb is this? You know, your first finger is A, 2 fingers is B. I mean, we were really stealth, right? So, so we were taking turns teaching each other. So then we would stand up. So she had bunk beds, so we were all sitting on the lower bunk bed, and whoever was talking was standing up on the wall, the opposite side, and there was a window right there to your right on the next wall. Right there was this window, and so Glenda was up, and so we were all on the bunk beds, and we were all calling out what she was doing with her fingers. You know, I mean, we were going to be really cool and talk in class and stuff, and so all of a sudden, Glenda's head light came out, and there was this orange, blood red orange light on her head, and we were all just looking. I mean, you're just shocked. It's not anything you expect to see, right? Mm-hmm. And so we, and the moon was out that night, but hung low in the sky, you know, off. So Glenda turns, and I'll never forget, and she had really thick glasses. She turns, and she looks out the window, and she said, "Oh, my God, this is really weird. So we all ran up, and I got right there by the window by Glenda, and everybody else. We were all jammed in this window, looking out at the side of the house, skip a lot, and then there was another house. And there was this huge, huge, I say it was, you know, as big as the house, maybe larger, looked like a planet. And it was orange red, and it was round, but it looked like it had a crater or things on it, but it was round, and the house was orange, the ground was orange. This is night. Everything was orange. Our faces were orange. We were lit up, and it would. Now you have to remember, this is when we had a Kodak camera with the flash cube. You know, that was cool then. I mean, really. I mean, we're talking old school here.
Yeah.
And so, but there was these flashes come off of it like a strobe light. We didn't know that was a strobe. They didn't have strobes at that particular time. And I looked at it, and then I'm thinking, oh, my God, I'm remembering. Because, you know, I read the Bible a couple of times, so I'm very, very familiar with the Bible. And, you know, in the last days, you know, one of the signs, the moon will turn to blood, and, you know, hellfire and Armageddon and all that kind of stuff, you know, starts to happen. And I'm looking at this thing, and then I look, It's the furthest house down, at the end of the road in this new development. It was the only house out there, and there was the moon, and it was like a quarter moon hanging. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm going, oh my God. So I just start saying, oh my God. And then I run over to the bed, and I'm on my knees, and I'm praying because I think Jesus has come. All right,
you prayed.
I'm praying.
Yes.
I couldn't believe that Jesus left me, and that I was going to be left behind, and all of the saints, all of the good people were going to heaven. I couldn't figure out why I had been left behind, and I was crying, and I was mumbling and yelling all these things. They're going, Hampton, what is wrong with you? I said, Jesus is coming. We've all been left behind, and now it's Armageddon. And they're going, what? Everybody was terrified. All right, stop the picture. Stop. All of a sudden, that's all I remember. Wake up in the morning as a fly walking along my eyelashes. And we're all in a big pile on the floor. Not in the bed. We're all on the floor. And we get up, and nobody says anything. I didn't say anything. We didn't say anything. We had pancakes, and we chit-chat and talked, and then slowly and surely, our parents came to pick us up, and we left, went home. Now I'm going to go into this was in the summer, going into the 10th grade. We never talked about it. Never, ever. It was like this thing never happened. We remember all of the things up to it, but we don't remember anything. So, all right, go all the way through high school. There were a few odd things that happened to me during, as growing up and through junior high and things like that, but not this. So, day of graduation, we had our photograph, our graduating class, we had our graduating pictures taken out in the old stadium. So I'm getting out of it, and I'm walking along on top of this rock fence, and all of a sudden I stop. I see Denny Perriman, who's already gone and is off to college, but came back to see our graduating class. And all of a sudden I stop, and everything comes flowing back to me. The orange light at the window, all of us being bathed in this thing, the flashes of light, that were coming into the room, and me just crying, oh my God, Jesus has come, I've been left behind, blah, 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 and it just comes back like that. But I don't remember anything else. And then I see Debbie, and I tell her this. I said, remember this? Why didn't we remember this? How could we have forgotten it? And she just looked at me, pale, pale, pale. She said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, you do? It was in your house. We were in your bedroom. We were doing sign language, And then she just turned and walked away. So I went up to Pam, and I said, Pam, do you remember this? And she just looked at me. She said, kind of. I said, do you remember when we were learning sign language? She goes, kind of. Then I was really frustrated, and they were off, and I was so stunned. So I go to my locker, and I see my science teacher, and I go into my science teacher's room and just knock on the door, and I say, can I talk to you for a moment? So then I sit down, and, students are cleaning out their lockers. They're all going blah, blah, blah. So I tell him the story, and he's just looking at me. And I remember he has this pencil that he's working on the desk. He's flipping it around and hitting the eraser bottom. He's looking at me. And then he's just staring, and he just says, bogey.
Really?
Said, what? Bogey? What? He said, a bogey. You saw a bogey. I said, well, what's a bogey? He said, it's a saucer. I said, no, this wasn't a saucer. This was a planet. This was a round, big, giant thing. And he said, it's a bogey. And I just felt stupid because I didn't know what he was talking about. So then I just sort of got up, and I just knew it wasn't going to go any further. But he watched me going all the way out the door, and I remember that so clearly.
What year was this?
Years later, Jimmy, just let me tell you.
Okay.
So years later, this is in the early 80s, and the press was doing a story on everything. Then they got onto this story, and So they were looking up everybody. Denny Perriman said, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." She still says that. I don't know what you're talking about. But then they found Glenda, and she said, "Oh, yeah, I remember that. I was by the window." And she totally confirmed it. And one other girl, Kate, I think, she confirmed it. And so, I included it in my book because what happened after that is when Ramtha, I always thought that I always knew there was somebody else with me. I always knew it. And I could call things out and it happened. I mean, I just, it's beyond the pale of this conversation. We get into the weeds here. But then when Ramtha came into my life and everything changed. I mean, that whole story is in a state of mind. But I would go to different places across the country, very famous people's houses, their, clinics, their retreats, whatever. And wherever I was at, is green fireballs would go through the sky. I'm telling you. And just standing out on the balcony talking to people before a session or after, I had channeled or, somewhere in between. I was guest sometimes at people's houses, Whenever I go out there, these big green fireballs would shoot through the sky. And they'd all look at it and said, "That's Ramtha, isn't it?" I said, "I think so." I don't know. Everywhere I went, everywhere. I could be in Tacoma picking up something, getting ready to get on the freeway, and there would be a fireball fly in the sky in front of me. Nobody around me saw it. I mean, they just, we have McChord Air Force Base up here. We have Fort Lewis. So those stayed with me forever, and to this day. Now, wherever I travel, their UFOs always appear. They've been photographed. In Italy, we have a series of them. They're over the event area that Ramtha's holding his event at. We have phenomenon that is so extraordinary and so lovely and so beautiful and so mystical and has happened to me ever since that date. There are UFOs that just appear. They just appear, craft in the sky. Or I'm in Paris, France, and Linda and I are getting ready to go have dinner with the president of France, and you see on TV, I go, "Look, it's home. It's Washington State." Well, here's two green fireballs, that they're reporting on breaking news as making sort of this cross pattern over the state of Washington. Anyway, that is my story. Now, I used to have nosebleeds. My mother ended up having to take me to a doctor, and they did something. They gave me some sort of pills that my nose would bleed. I'd wake up, my pillow would be soaked with it. When the whole probing thing came out, I knew it being checked out.
Right.
But one last little thing I want to tell you. In the third grade, they were giving vaccinations to everybody in school. You had the nurse, you would go and you would get your big vaccination, and then they'd put like this clear bubble thing over your arm. That's where everybody had those vaccination scars. And I thought, wearing one of those cool bubble things is going to be so cool.
Right.
Well, they gave me the vaccination, it didn't take. So then they gave it to me again, it didn't take. And then they asked my mother, should we do it again? And she just said, well, obviously her body doesn't want it. So none of the vaccinations that I was ever given worked. And Ramtha would later talk about the dangers of vaccines and what's in them. So I just wanted to leave your listeners with that. But that's my story. You can read it all in a state of mind. It's a great book.
What year was that with the sleepover, the slumber party?
Oh, my God, 1960?
Yeah,
I graduated in 1964.
See, I was doing the math, too, for myself. I'm trying to, I know that we're separated about 15 years. So, yeah, it would have been about 1960. And in 1960, I'm not being a skeptic or anything like that. What I'm trying to suggest here is I don't remember talk of giant orange, round spherical things coming down. It was always flying saucers. It was always that kind of talk.
No, honey, this, Jimmy, this was hovering quiet. It was quiet. It didn't make any noise.
Right.
This was above this house at night.
Right.
And the whole house at night, remember the moon is off, where the moon is. But this was like a lot away, and then there was a house. This was sitting above this house, and those flashes were coming in that window.
That's incredible. And I can't think of, and I've interviewed 1,000 people, right, or more. I've never heard of an account quite like this. It's singular. It's a very real experience. It's incredible.
Well, I've had them with the red ball. I've had them with that red ball that, goes searching. I've had them with other lights, but I've never seen that again. And of all of the things that I've seen, I mean, I don't know how to tell you this. And remember, this is the summer of 1960. We have flash cubes and Kodak cameras. We don't have strobes. And I'm looking at this thing, and it looks like it's got, like the moon, has divots in it. Looked like it had some divots, but had other things on it that I don't know what they were. But it was round, and it was orange. It was totally quiet. I've never seen another one like it. It's never been in my life since then. I don't know what it was, but we all 5 saw it.
Have you done any regression therapy or any of the other of your friends to see what happened after you guys fell asleep?
No, but we did. But we don't remember. We don't know what happened when, oh my God, Jesus has left us and we're all on the bed and what the hell's happening, Hampton? What is going on? It's like it just stopped. We don't remember what went on the rest of the night and why. We never questioned why we were all on the floor, sleeping on each other's legs and backs, and why we were on the floor. It was just, it's sort of like it was normal. We never questioned. We never even talked about it. I mean, it was bizarre. So we don't know what happened.
Do you want to find out? Do you want to find out?
Well, I had a great guy who had offered to do that. Forgot his name. He was the great guy from back east that did all of that wonderful research on
John Mack
sightings. Yes. And we were going to meet in Colorado. I think he was going to be in Colorado. And then he died.
Right. And there's a great line here. The next day, your mom says, "So, anything happened last night?" Nah, not really. Right?
No, it really didn't.
Right.
I mean, I'm just a teenager, and we're just doing, our reality is just teenage girl stuff, and oh my God, we're going to high school. It's so super cool, and bobby socks and tennis shoes and and gorgeous legs and, just being girls. And then, and they don't remember anything until that last day of graduation. Now, that book has been out there. It's been in the newspapers, but I've never been asked. I've never been interviewed. You're the first person that's ever interviewed me on that topic. And I think it's key to everything. How, I don't know yet, but I think it was key, part and parcel with Ramtha, with everything that's gone on, up until now.
Yeah, right. It's all connected. Now,
how could I have different DNA than Ramtha? You understand?
I do. I'm still scratching my head on that, Jay-Z.
I know we all are.
Now, I want to thank you. An amazing conversation tonight, and I can't wait till we talk again. But before I get there, what's next, and where can everybody just reach out and find out more about Ramtha and the school?
Well, it's really easy, and anyone, I mean, we're now into the vault of 41 years, some of the most amazing teachings and predictions. By the way, one of his predictions has just come true. I think that was sent on to you, been recognized by science. Ramtha had told us, people talk about climate change. This is just a footnote we're going to leave. Ramtha said back in the 80s, and then he said it again in 2012, that the Earth was tilting on its axis, and it was moving towards, the North Pole was moving towards Siberia. Now, everybody just said, what the heck? And sure enough, there just in the last few days, there is a report out that says exactly that the Earth has been on a slow tilt towards Siberia. So there's going to be a lot of things happening. There's so many predictions that he's given that we have a vault full of them. But anyone can go to ramtha.com. You can learn about classes. You can learn about, we stream live all over the world. We stream teachings all over the world. You can check that out. I'm on Facebook. I limited my group to 5,000, though there's like 80 subgroups that are followed, about 125,000 people worldwide. So I'm on Facebook. I post, and I generally post it to Newsfeed. So, or you can find me on Twitter. I just learned about Twitter, maybe about 4 months ago. So I have a few folks that are on there, and I'm sort of learning how to handle it, and it's kind of been cool. But, they can find me there. But I do want to talk to you again, because I said that the last interview I did with you is one of the best I ever did. And listen, I've been with, Merv Griffin. I've been with Larry King several times. I have been on talk shows on NBC. I have been on Good Morning America. I mean, I've been everywhere. Yours is the best because we just talk, and it's not a got you moment, and I appreciate that. That's very rare.
Well, maybe I'll do that next time.
I hope so.
All right, JZ, thank you so much.
I'm ready for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for giving me this time. I so appreciate it, and I love you, and I love your audience. I hope everybody feels a lot better about themselves in the next 5 minutes.
And JZ, in the next 4 hours, you're going to be taking your 3 a.m. walk. So enjoy that and go and continue your bliss, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, JZ.
I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
You will. Thank you so much. JZ Knight. 10 years we waited for that conversation, and it was an honor, but it was all that. And I want to thank you, JZ, for the conversation. Again, Ramtha.com. There's also, you got to go check this out, jz-rose.com. Go check out that store. And then blueroom.com. And tomorrow night, right here, Jay Widener, and we're gonna do mystery schools all night long. And then it's a very important show that we are doing on Wednesday. Isaac Arthur is back, and we are going to educate. We're going to start from the top and go to the bottom of the Fermi Paradox. That is a show you're not going to want to miss. And of course, Thursday night, Fader night, open lines all night long. With that, I am going to get out of here. I'll see everybody tomorrow night. You can follow Jay-Z on Twitter at JZKnight. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I want to thank Jay-Z Knight for coming in tonight. Full 2.5 hours, start to finish. Amazing conversation. Faded Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2019 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. They cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night, right here, Jay Widener. I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tapping.